method and observations from vantage point and so on and so forth. Then we looked at this sheet, which is used for doing or taking the travel time observation, okay, with the test car. Okay, so today we will look at some calculations about the travel time. Okay, so this is our first question, and so today we'll be basically having a like a problem session, right? So this is our first question. So we have an arterial, okay, that arterial has true mean running time 196 seconds, 3 mile section, standard deviation is given. Okay, assuming that that the running time also follows normal distribution, and we have discussed about normal distribution in the spot speed chapter. Okay, so we are saying running time also follows normal distribution, so we have to find out the average and 95% confidence interval of speeds. 95% confidence interval of speeds. Okay, first of all, couple of things to be explained here in the question. Firstly, running time. Running time means travel time minus delay. Running time means travel time minus delay. Okay, travel time without the delay. That is called as running time. Secondly, true mean means the mean of the entire population of drivers. Okay, so in the spot speed chapter, we were discussing about mean of a sample. Here they are using the word true mean. That means the running time is the mean for the entire population of drivers. So somehow, I don't know how, but somehow they have found the mean for all the drivers, the mean running time for all the drivers. Okay, not just a sample of drivers, but for all the drivers who will drive on this arterial section. And we have to find out the average speed and the 95% confidence interval of speed. Starting with average speed. Finding out average speed should not be a problem. Why? Because the mean running time is given and the length of the section is given, 3 mile section. Okay, so the speed will be how much? How much will be this average speed? What should I do? To find out the average speed, what should I do?
Distance over time.
Distance upon time. Okay, distance already given in miles, so I'll just take it as it is. Time is given in seconds, so I need to convert it to hours. Okay, so that I can have the speed in hours, miles per hour. So 96 upon 3600. How much is this?
55.1.
55.1 miles per hour. Okay. Now for the remaining calculation, keep one more point in your mind, that whatever concepts and whatever statistics you have applied to spot speed, all of them are applicable to travel time as well. Whatever statistics and equations you have applied to spot speed data, all of them are applicable to travel time as well, travel time studies as well. So the equation for calculating 95% confidence interval, the equation for calculating mean, standard deviation, e-value, okay, all these things, and we will use them. You will see here in few examples. Okay, so average speed, not a problem. Okay, you had mean time, you did distance upon time, it gave you the average speed. For 95% confidence interval of speed, now you see here, this is a running time study. Okay, this is a running time study, so the mean and the standard deviation is given for running time, not for speed. So for 95% confidence interval of speed, you have to first of all find out 95% confidence interval of running time, and then you will use those range, that range of the running time, to calculate the range of 95% confidence interval of speed. You cannot calculate 95% confidence interval of speed directly, because the data is not for speed. The data is given is for running time. So first of all, calculate the 95% confidence interval of running time. And 95% confidence interval, again, we know the equation from the spot speed, which was mean plus minus 1.96 E. Okay, one more thing here. Now to calculate E, we had an equation. Equation was S upon root of N. E was S upon root of N, where S was standard deviation and N was number of samples. Now you see here in the question, standard deviation is given. You will ask me for the number of samples. And my answer would be you don't need number of samples. Why? Because you are given with true mean running time. So true mean means it is for the entire population. In that case, standard deviation can be directly taken as E. If instead of mean of a sample, they gave you true mean or the mean of the entire population, then in that case, standard deviation can be taken directly as the E value. Okay, so I don't need to calculate E. The standard deviation is the E because the mean is given for the entire population. It's not mean of a sample, it is a true mean, which means mean of a of the entire population. Okay, so I'll just calculate it here. I'll just calculate the range. So 196, which is the mean. E will be 15. Give me the range.
166.6.
166.6 seconds. Okay.
225.4.
225. Okay. Yes, in seconds. Okay. Now I will use this range to calculate the speed. Okay. So maximum speed is using the lower range of the running time. Okay. So it's the same equation basically. I will just change the running time. 166.6. Okay, tell me.
64.8.
64.8. Okay, and minimum speed.
47.9.
47.9.
Yes.
Now, since you are using running time, so the speed is also known as running speed. Okay, since you are using running time, so the speed is also known as running speed. Okay, so later on in another example, we will do it tomorrow, inshallah. You will see that they are using travel speed and running speed on the basis of which time we use for calculation of the speed. In this case, we are using running time, so we will call it the running speed. So this is average running speed, and this is the confidence interval of, or 95% confidence interval of running speed. Okay. Another example is given in the form of a bar diagram or histogram. Okay, let me put it over here. Okay, now in this bar diagram, or let me show it in the slides. In this bar diagram, on the x-axis you see the travel time value, on the y-axis you see the number of observations. Okay, on the x-axis travel time value, on the y-axis number of observations. Okay, so for example, for 150 seconds I had one observation, for 160 seconds I had one observation, for 170 seconds no observations, 180 seconds one observation, 190 two observations, 5 observations for 200 seconds, 3 for 220 seconds, nothing for 210 and 230, and then 1 each for 240, 250, 260 and 280 seconds, and 3 observations for 270 seconds. Okay, so the observations can be seen from the y-axis and number of values from the x-axis. Okay, so let us do some calculations for this data. First of all, I will start with calculation of mean. Okay, and like I said earlier, I will use the same equations which I have used for spot speed case. So mean was calculated as summation of n into s divided by capital N. Okay. N was the number of observations which you can take from the y-axis, and s is the value for those observations. In that case, it was the middle speed. In this case, the value is directly given on the x-axis. Obviously, with the change in data, there will be a little bit of change in the interpretation of the variables as well, but you can see the equation is the same. So s, instead of the middle speed, it is the travel time. Okay, and capital N was the total number of values. Okay, so first of all, tell me how much is n here? How much is n? Total number of values. How many?
5.
5. How did you come up with this? Total number of values, not maximum. Total.
20.
20. Okay, good. How did you count it?
I added each one together.
Yes, good.
Okay,
yeah. So a basic mistake in this case is some people add the number of bars. Number of bars is the number of travel times you have, not the number of observations. Each bar has a number of observations from the y-axis. Okay, so we have one observation for 150, one for 160, and so on. So for each bar, you will count how many observations are there, and then you will add them together to get the total number of observations. Okay, observations are not the number of bars. Observations are the total observations which you have for all the bars. So each bar has a number from the y-axis. Take the number from the y-axis and add all of them together. This will give you total number of observations, which is 20 in this case. Very good. Okay, so I know n. Okay, then I will do summation of n into s. So now you can see n in many cases it is 1. So instead of multiply by 1, I will just write the number. Okay, so 150 by 1 means 150, right? 160 by 1 means 160, plus 180 by 1 again 180, 190 by 2, 200 by 5, 220 by 3, then 240 plus 250 plus 260 plus 270 by 3 plus 280 divided by 20. How much?
so 218.5.
218.5 seconds. Okay, then I can calculate the standard deviation as well. Again, I will use the same equation which I had for the spot speed. Okay, and it was under root, so I will write the power for the under root. Okay, so the equation was summation of n into s square plus capital N into the mean value divided by divided by what? N minus 1. Okay, all to the power of half, meaning under root. Okay, so n we know n is 20, mean 218.5 seconds. Okay, and this summation you have to calculate, obviously. So you already have n into s, right? You already have n to s. Just take this bracket, and with every travel time value you do the square. Okay, so instead of writing 150, you will write 150 square, 160 square, 180 square, 190 square into 2, 200 square into 5, and so on. Okay, so give me the value. Yes. Yes, anyone?
I got 218.7.
218.6. Your mean is 218.5. Standard deviation cannot be the same.
$1,002.
No. Standard deviation will always be less than mean. Okay, this is a check. Standard deviation will always be less than mean. Are you doing this under root? Okay, I put 0.5 here. So this whole thing, summation of n square plus n into mean upon n minus 1. After doing all this, you have to take the under root. If you have any confusion, I was not, in reading this equation, it is S root whole of root summation of n into S square. Okay, sorry, yeah, I made a mistake, sorry. It is minus, this one is and this is mean square. Okay, so there's yeah, okay, so there's a problem with the equation here. This is this one and it is, yeah, now calculated. So summation of n squared minus n capital N into x bar square.
38.3.
Okay, so basically I was the culprit here. Okay, 38.3 seconds. Okay, now let us calculate the average speed and the confidence interval of speed using these values. Okay, average speed, not a problem. We have mean travel time now. You can see here with the figure, below the figure, you can see this is travel time data, not running time data. Okay, and the length is given as 3 mile. 3 mile. Okay, so the length is given and it's a travel time data. So the speed which you will calculate will be the average travel speed because it is travel time. So this time has a delay as well. It is not running time, it is a travel time. So this has delay and everything. Okay, so average speed is again 3 mile section. So 3 divided by the average travel time now 218.5 divided by 3600. Okay, how much?
49.4.
49.4 miles per hour. And for 95% confidence interval of speed, I want 95% confidence interval of speed. So like we did in the previous example, the data is given for travel time. So I need to calculate the 95% confidence interval of travel time. Okay, so 95% confidence interval of travel time. I already have the equation here. Okay, now in this example, the data we know is for a sample. We know the data is for a sample, so I cannot leave E as standard deviation. I have to calculate the standard deviation myself. Okay, so standard deviation is S upon root of n. S upon root of n. So S is standard deviation 38.3 divided by root of n. So again for root I will use the power. N is 20. Okay. In the previous example, I told you they gave me true mean time, so there was no sample given. I assume that it is for the whole population, and I took a standard deviation as the e value. But in this case, I know this is for a sample of 20 observations, so I cannot do it. Yes. How much is this range?
201.7.
I did not write the mean correctly. You have to take the mean as the mean which you have, okay, 218.5. Will you take mean as 218.5?
Yes.
Okay, good. 20 what?
201.7.
0.7, okay.
235.3.
235. 235.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, then now you can calculate 95% confidence interval of speed as well. So maximum speed will be 1.7. How much?
53.5.
Okay, and then the minimum
45.9.
Okay, so again, now these speeds will be known as travel speeds. These speeds will be known as travel speeds because now you have used travel time to calculate them. So the average speed is average travel speed. Then we have the maximum travel speed and the minimum travel speed for 95% confidence interval. Okay. Now let's say the previous data with the running time and this data with the travel time is given for the same section. In the previous example, the data which was given for the running time, and this example, the bar diagram is for the same section. Okay, so I have the true mean running time and I have the mean travel time as well for the same section. If I want to calculate delay, then delay equals to what? How do I calculate the delay? If you have the running time and you have the travel time, then delay equals to what? What should I do with these values? Yes? Anyone? Running time, travel time. What is the difference between them? What is running time? Anyone? Nobody knows the answer. I just told you at the start. What is the difference between running time and travel time? Amazing. Okay, the difference between them is a delay. Okay, the difference between travel time and running time is a delay. So if somebody gave you running time and travel time for the same section, you can calculate delay. Okay, so delay will be mean travel time minus the mean running time. 218.5 minus 196. How much? How much is this value?
22.5.
22.5. Okay, so we have learned some additional concepts related to the statistics. First of all, if mean is given for the entire population, we call it true mean, and then standard deviation becomes E directly. Secondly, if somebody gave you travel time data or running time data and asked you for confidence interval of speed, then you first of all calculate the confidence interval of travel time or running time, and then you come out to the calculation of speed. Okay, and then we learned about the delay. If you have run travel time and running time, you can calculate delay, or vice versa. There are three things, right? In the equation, I gave you two. You can calculate the third one, right? If I gave you travel time and delay, then you can give me the running time. Okay. What else? And you can apply the concepts of spot speed data to here as well, and how to calculate the mean using the bar diagram. The mean and standard deviation using the bar diagram. You have just seen it here. Okay, now you look at another example. Yeah. So in this example, they are giving us another procedure for calculating the delay. Okay, which is to use the probability or the chance of having the delay. Okay, and you can apply this concept to calculating mean, for which if the data is given as probabilities or chances. So let's say on a given section of an arterial, you have two signals. You have two signals. The delay or the time for which the signal becomes red is around 40 seconds. So if you stop on a signal, then you will be stopped for 40 seconds. So if there are two signals and if you had to stop on both the signals, your delay will be 80 seconds. And if you did not stop on any of them, your delay will be 0 seconds. And if you stop on one of them, any one, then your delay will be 40 seconds. Now you know sometimes it happens, you come to a signal, it was already green, and then you go ahead without any stoppage. So in that case, you did not stop at that signal, right? So your delay for that signal will be 0. Now if you are very good, if you are a very good person, you have done a lot of charity, and God is happy with you, you may have the case where both signals are green for you, right? You come there, both signals are green for you. Okay, so they have calculated the chances of this being happening, which is 56.9% or 0.569. 0.569 or 56.9%. So you go to the field and you observe how many vehicles are passing through the intersection or passing through the section without any stoppage, and you calculate this percentage as this probability. Okay, so they observe 56.9% vehicles not stopping at all at any of the signals. So I think this is a very good design of the signal where more than half of the vehicles do not have to stop at all. This is a very good design. So it's simply the percentage of cars which have to stop. So 0.569 or 56.9% cars do not have to stop. So you have 0.569 chance or 56.9% chance that you do not stop at any signal. And like I told you, then you have to be a good person for that, right? Then you have someone in the middle, not so good, not so bad. So there is 30% chance that a car will stop on one of the signals. So that driver will find at least one signal green, or that driver will find one signal as green, and on the other signal he has to stop. So the chance of this being happening is 30%, 0.3. Okay, so there's a 30% chance that you may have to stop at one of the signal, or 30% cars have to stop on only one signal, and the remaining 13.1% cars have to stop on both the signals. Okay, so these are very bad people. They don't do good at all, and whatever. Okay, I'm just joking. Okay, you don't measure somebody's goodness by looking at the amount of time they have to stop at the signal, right? Only God knows about how good you are or how bad you are. You don't judge people based upon anything or based upon something which you can see. Okay, so just joking. So 13.1% cars, or 0.131 or 13.1% chance that you have to stop on both signals. Okay, so in that case your delay will be 80 seconds. Now how to use the probabilities or chances to calculate the average value? Okay, this is another method of calculating the average. If instead of giving you values and observations, I gave you the chances. Okay, so delay in this case will be the amount of delay multiplied by the probability or the chance. The amount of delay multiplied by the probability or chance. So delay amount 0 seconds, chance 0.569. So 0 into 0.569. Obviously, it will be 0, but just for the sake of explanation, I'm writing the full term. So delay 40 seconds, chance 0.3. 40 into 0.3. Delay 80 seconds, chance 0.131. Okay, so this will also give you the average delay. So how much is the average delay here?
$34.48.
34.48 34.48. I think there's a problem. 42.3 plus 80 into 0.131. 34.48. Because this is 0, right? This will become 0. How much?
22.48.
22.4. Okay. Maybe I heard it wrong. Sorry. Okay. So this is another method of calculating average if you are given with the possibilities of having a value. Okay. So now we know the simple average, summation of values upon number of values. We know the average using the frequency distribution, and now we know the average using the possibilities. Okay. Now this is another example in which again we are applying the same concept which we had for spot speed. Okay, so today is like a practice session, right, for the things which you have already done for the spot speed case, which is good. You guys need more practice, right? Okay, so they need a series of travel time runs to be made along an RTL section. I told you in the last lecture as well. Travel time runs means travel time observations. Okay, so they want me to calculate the number of runs, means they want me to calculate the number of observations required to estimate the overall average travel time with 95% confidence interval and the tolerance of plus minus 2, plus minus 5, and plus minus 10%. Okay, so there are 3 tolerance levels given and standard deviation 5, 10, and 15 minutes. Okay, so they want me to change the tolerance level and the standard deviation and give them the results in the form of a table, in the form of a matrix basically. The number of observations with 95% confidence interval are calculated using this equation. So I will take this equation, I'll put it over here. Then I will put my table here. Okay, so along the columns, I will write the standard deviation. Okay, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and along the rows, I will put the tolerance levels. Okay, so you have the n equation here. S means the standard deviation, so these values, and E means tolerance level, so these values. Okay, and 3.84 is constant because of the 95% confidence interval. So give me the values. Okay, and I think if you go column by column, so avoid any confusion. Okay, so first give me the value when the standard deviation is 5 minutes and E is 2 minutes.
24.
24. Okay, now change the value of E to 5 minutes.
3.84.
3.84. Okay.
Zero 0.96.
0.96. Okay. Now standard deviation 10 minutes and E will be 2, 5, and 10.
96.
96.
15.36.
15.36.
3.84.
3.84.
216.
216.
34.56.
34.56.
8.64.
8.64. Okay, again, just a discussion about the trend here. So you see when the standard deviation increases, the number of samples increase. Okay, standard deviation increase means there's more variance and more variation in the population of the drivers. Okay, so when there is more variation, you need to collect more samples to cover the variation. To cover the dispersion, you need to collect more samples. For example, if somebody asks me how many or to collect a sample for the civil engineering department, I may take a lesser number, okay, as compared to if somebody asked me to collect a sample for all UOB students, because then I will collect more samples because I need to collect sample from each department, right? So more variation means more samples needs to be collected. So you can see it here. When you increase the standard deviation, number of samples increase. You see the reverse approach here when you increase the tolerance level. When you increase the tolerance level, number of samples are decreasing. Okay, you go from row 1 to 2 to 3, number of samples are decreasing. Why? Tolerance levels increases, that means precision is decreasing. So if you are willing to accept lower precision or higher error in your data, then you don't need to collect many values. I discussed this concept in the reverse with the reverse approach in the spot speed case. There was an example like this in the spot speed topic as well. In that case, I told you the reverse, that if you need more precision, then you need to take more repetitive observations. So this is the inverse of that, or the opposite of that, that if you need higher tolerance level, or you're willing to accept higher tolerance, if you have higher tolerance, then you need less number of observations. Okay, because you're willing to accept more error. Okay, so we'll stop here. If you have any questions, you can ask me. Otherwise, I will just open the attendance. Okay, if you allow me, we have a few minutes. Okay, so nobody will be late. Just let me finish section 1 first, because there are only few absentees there. So I can do it faster. Section 1, people, section 1. Anybody from section 1 here?
Yes, doctor. Mustafa Yab.
Okay, Visal and Susan and Allah. Okay, who else from section 1? Mustafa. Okay. Anybody else from section 1? Section 1 is done. Okay.
Yes, Dr. Abdul Rahman.
Abdul Rahman.
Dr. Hassa also.
You are from section 1? No, I'm taking section 1 first. That's what I said. You people are from section 2, right? Okay, so section 1 is done. Going for section 2 now. What you guys did is called as theory of expectancy of continuity. We studied it in the first chapter, so you always assume that I am taking your section first, while I'm not. Okay, Hissa done. Abdul Rahman, where is he? Abdul Rahman is done. Okay, Ali Khalil, Kusai is here. Okay, fine. Ali Khalil is here. Yusuf Ahmad Nidam.
Yes, doctor.
Okay, Hawra is here. Ali Muhammad. Okay, Sadiq Abdul Hussain. Balkis Hamad. Hala Munir, Umar Walid, Sara Ali, okay, Muntazir Hussain, Saleh Mehdi, okay, Ahmed Mohammed, okay, fine, Sarah Khamis, Zainab Ali Ahmed, Sarah Khamis and Zainab, not here, okay, both are here. Okay, the absentees are Umar Walid, Hala Munir, Bilqis Hamad, Sadiq Abdul Hussain. Okay, this guy Umar Walid is somebody knows him. Please, let him know he is missing out everything. He's not attending the classes, but as a test. If he wants to continue like this, he needs to drop the course then. Okay, thank you. Assalamu alaikum.